There shouldn't be any monsters left in Lucille. The city used to have them, of course. What city didn't? They used to be everywhere, thick in the air, in offices, in the streets and in people's own homes. They used to be the police and teachers and judges and even the mayor. Yeah, the mayor used to be a monster. Lucille has a different mayor now. This mayor is an angel. The last couple of mayors have all been angels. Not like a from heaven, not quite real type of angel, but a from behind and inside and in front of the revolution, therefore very real type of angel. It was the angels who took apart the prisons and the police, who held councils prosecuting the former officers who'd shot children and murdered people, sentencing them to restitution and rehabilitation. Many people thought it wasn't enough, but the angels were only human, and it's hard to build a world without making people angry. You try your best, you move with compassion, you think about the big structures. No revolution is perfect. In the meantime, the angels banned firearms, not just because of the school shootings, but also because of the kids who shot themselves and their families at home. The civilians who thought they could shoot people who didn't look like them, just because they got mad or scared or whatever, and nothing would happen to them because the old law liked them better than the dead. The angels took the laws and changed them, tore down those horrible statues of rich men who'd owned people and fought to keep owning people. The angels believed, and the people agreed, that there was a good amount of proper and deserved shame in history, that some things were just never going to be things to be proud of. Instead, they put up other monuments. Some were statues of the dead, mostly the children whose hashtags had been turned into battle cries during the revolution. Others were giant sculptures with thousands of names carved into them, because too many people had died, and if you made statues of everyone, Lucille would be filled with stone figures and there'd be no room for the alive ones. The names were of people who died when the hurricanes hit and the monsters wouldn't evacuate the prisons or send aid, people who died when the monsters sent drones and bombs to their countries. Because, as the angels pointed out, you shouldn't use a nation as a basis to choose which deaths you mourn. Nations aren't even real. People who died because the monsters took away their health care, names and names of people and people, countless letters recording that they had been. Hey everyone, it's me Catherine, and today I'm here to talk about Pet by Akwaeke Emezi. So, Pet is a story that imagines a future where the people rise up to tear down the system, our system, this current system that we have going on currently, a system that is inherently racist, that has been built to protect people that look like me, to protect white people. Imagines a future where this system that fails to protect people of colour, it fails to protect black people, and this story imagines a future where the people start a revolution to tear this system down and to tear everything this system has built down. Most notably, considering what's going on currently with the Black Lives Matter protests against police brutality. So in this we see a future where the police are gone, and you might think that it would be chaos, but it isn't. It is good. Is it perfect? No, it's not perfect, but it's impossible to have a perfect system because we as humans make mistakes. There are people who do bad things, and there will always be people who do bad things, but it is how you deal with it, it's how we as a society deal with those things that matters. And historically and currently, we are not dealing with those things well. We are desperately trying to make work a system that has been rigged from the beginning, a system that has always been meant to protect white people. And as much as we can try to reform and get it to do better, the point is it's not working. People have tried reformations and it's not working. It isn't working. So that's why a lot of people now, you'll have seen going round, people shouting for us to defund the police. And while that might sound initially crazy, because at first even I was like, what, defund the police? But the police are there to stop crime. But what's happening is all this money is going into the police that isn't going into communities and community resources. And to deal with this problem, instead of giving the communities money and putting money into more resources for these poorer communities, instead they're just increasing police presence, pouring more money into the police. And that's just, I guess, aggravating the situation. It's putting the police more in contact with people, which I guess is, I'm not saying this right at all. So basically, these poor communities, which, let's face it, are occupied more often than not by black people, by people of colour, and so putting more police, increasing the police presence in these communities, police who are the police made by a system, created by a system that is inherently biased against these people, that is racist, an inherently racist system, is just aggravating an already horrible situation. Ultimately, Pet shows us a future where we can tear this system down and it can work without it. We can rebuild, because that's what we need to do. We need to tear it down and rebuild, rather than trying to patch up and reform something that isn't meant to work for everybody. There's only so much patching you can do before it becomes woefully obvious that it's not working. Oh, well, it's working, but you can't change how it's working. You need to start again from the bottom, and that's what Pet shows you. Pet shows you this future where this has happened. The people have revolutioned. They've torn it all down, built it back up. So the actual story of Pet takes place after this revolution has happened. We see the world, this city, Lucille, at the very least, post-revolution, because it's not clear whether this revolution has only happened in Lucille or whether it's happened everywhere, but we only see Lucille. We know it's happened in Lucille. This revolution has happened, but the story takes place after. It takes place after this, so it's already happened. We see what the world is, and we're following Jam, who finds a creature climbing out of her mother's painting, who says it's on a hunt for a monster that is amongst the people that she knows. And we're following Jam as she has to deal with what that means, and how she decides how she's going to deal with it when they do eventually find this monster. What is going to happen at that point? And it is so good. It never focuses on the monster. It only focuses on Jam, and we see how her relationship with her mum and dad. Like, Jam is so loved by her parents. She is so loved by her best friend and his family, and it is a story that is full of this love. It's full of this warmth that you can't help but be attached to these people, to these characters, to Jam, who wants to protect her best friend, who makes mistakes along the way because she is only human. And it's about, I guess it could say it's about doing better, because Lucille is a city that claims there are no monsters left, and yet here's this creature that we know as Pet who has come to say that it's hunting a monster, that there is a monster in this city, that there is a monster amongst the people that Jam knows, and Jam can't fathom that because there are no monsters, and everybody, it's like a family, like everybody loves everybody. But so there's also this idea of the fact that not all monsters are obvious. A monster can look like anything. It can look like anyone. Should also put in a trigger warning for child abuse, though it is never described in any detail. You are just made aware of the fact that abuse has happened. And you see the effects. Just only some of the effects of that abuse. Honestly, it's just a story full of so much feeling, and Akwaeke Emezi's writing is absolutely stunning. This world that they have imagined, that they have created, these characters that they've created, that they've put on the page, the love and the warmth in these families is, and I probably should have mentioned this as well, but that Jam, our main character, is a trans girl, and but the story isn't centered, I guess, is that the right way to say it? It's not centered around her being trans, but we learn about what the process was for her growing up once she made her parents aware of the fact that she had been assigned the wrong gender at birth, that she was a girl and not a boy. And how we get a small part near the beginning dedicated to just telling us what she went through, and how in this future where they've torn down this system, Jam never had to prove to anybody, because it started from a very young age, and she was given hormone blockers until she was about puberty age, where they gave her an estrogen implant, and then when she was 15, she asked her dad if she could have surgery, and she had a surgery. There was no real barriers to her doing any of that. There was no adults telling her that, oh, you're only a child, you don't know what you want, you don't know what you're feeling. They listened, and she got everything she needed without any barriers. And Jam goes on to live her life, and then she finds this creature, and it's never about this book is never about Jam being trans. This book isn't centered around Jam being trans. That's not what the plot of the book is based around. It's not based around the fact that Jam is black, because this is a future where it genuinely isn't an issue, because there's no police for her to worry about being stereotyped and potentially murdered simply for being black. And she has no fears of being mistreated or misgendered in this future, because this is a future where we're living in a society where people understand gender is a personal identity. This book, at the surface, is Jam finds a creature crawling out of her mum's painting who is on the hunt for a monster, and it's them hunting for the monster. But because of the opening, because of what you find out in the opening pages of this book, it is showing you a world, a future where we can be better. This book was so good, and I loved it so much. I genuinely, wholeheartedly loved. It's my first 5-star of the year, and is definitely firmly up there as one of my favourite books I've ever read. So that is it. That is it from me. Thank you so much for watching. Let me know in the comments below if you've read this, like what your thoughts are. So I'm going to leave links in the description for more information on police defunding, information on petitions and places that still need donations, or any other ways I can find for helping the Black Lives Matter movement currently, helping the protests against police brutality. And if it hasn't been made clear by this video, Black Lives Matter. I hope you have a lovely day, and I will hopefully see you in another video. Bye.